What's good, combat sports fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kicking with your host, Bando. My boy Josh Emmett got his ass beat this weekend. Let's just get straight to it. Let's, not cut no corners. My man Josh Emmett got his ass beat, but Lerone Murphy was looking extremely sharp, kept the 0 on his record. So let's talk about it real quick. Let's go. Saturday's card, very lackluster card. Didn't have much to really, there just wasn't much to it. There wasn't much to it. It was a pretty boring card. A lot of wrestling on this card, but not just like wrestling. A lot of wrestling where it's shoot for the legs, hold, and that's it. That's it. It wasn't nothing exciting. It limited amount of finishes, but mainly want to talk about the main event. It's what I broke down, so it's what we'll recap and review. And Lerone Murphy looked fantastic. That's the number one thing. Besides the fact that, jokingly I say Josh Emmett got his ass beat. He didn't really get his ass beat. Lerone Murphy just outworked him. Made him chase for shots. Was landing good kicks. Was landing good punches. Was countering every time that Josh did close the distance or try to cut him off. He was landing good. Fantastic movement. So Lerone Murphy, you can tell that he was coming into this fight extremely prepared for the matchup that he had in front of him. And a lot of times guys don't. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like something simple. You should be prepared for the matchup of the guy that you're training. Like you've known for multiple months that you're about to fight this guy. You should have the game plan coming in, something set. Lerone had it perfect for Josh Emmett. He was on point. He had his hands up, did not let any of those rights for Josh Emmett really to come through. Obviously, we know he throws an extremely powerful overhand right, and none of it could land. Lerone was blocking very well, moving very well, getting out of the way to make Josh chase more. And the fighting style of Josh Emmett is not the fighting style of someone to chase. You know what I'm saying? He might chase for a while. He might end up catching you, right? But it's easy. It's easy if you make him chase because you can make him miss. And that was a fantastic game plan by Lerone Murphy. You could tell Josh was getting extremely frustrated. He was definitely getting frustrated when Lerone was throwing those side kicks to the knee. Those ones, they're... Say what you want to say about them. It's a fight game, so it's a dangerous game regardless. A guy can get punched in the jaw and his jaw get completely dislocated, just like Blachowicz versus Luke Rockhold. Those kicks can fuck up somebody's leg. And the knee is one of those things where careers get tossed up on knees for real, but find a way to defend it. That's the other thing. Find a way to defend it. It is a hard kick to defend, though. It's coming at an awkward angle, awkward distance, and every time you're trying to move in, someone's hitting you with that kick, and it kind of forces you back. You're either pulling your hips back to try to make them avoid the kick, try to miss in some way, right? But then you're putting yourself off balance, which is another thing. That's another reason why the kick is so successful. Even when you miss with the kick, the way that you have to block the kick or get out of the way of the kick, you might be open to get countered or something nasty landed. So Lerone did very well with those kicks and definitely were pissing Josh off. The problem with Josh is he was searching for the right hand the entire night. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. He couldn't break the game plan. He couldn't break what he was trying to do. He wanted to knock him out, and I get that, right? You're known for your knockout power. The last fight you were in, you sent Bryce Mitchell to CTE land, and you're going to want to do it to every opponent that you're in there with, and you're trying to get yourself up to a title shot. It wasn't there, though. You know what I'm saying? It just that punch specifically was not there. He wasn't going to find it. Before the fight, if you were watching my live, if you joined in, I appreciate you for the support. Appreciate you for watching. We're going to do that on most of the fight nights, so make sure you pay attention. The free fight nights, the pay-per-views, a little bit different, but Fight Night's definitely going to be doing live streams for the majority of them. So I appreciate anybody who joined. But if you saw at the beginning, I had this whole future of the featherweight division broken down if Josh Emmett would have won. Now, I thought Josh Emmett was going to go in there, chuck that right hand, land that right hand, and knock Lerone Murphy out. I know Lerone Murphy's undefeated, coming in there, looking good in every single one of his fights. Just feel, the power of Josh Emmett is very dangerous. I thought he was going to be able to land something. My prediction was Josh knocks out Lerone Murphy, right? Then, this upcoming weekend, you got Volk versus Diego Lopez. Volk beats Diego Lopez by decision, right? Then you got the battle of the bald heads. Volk versus Josh Emmett for the UFC Featherweight Championship. Josh Emmett would knock out Volkanovski and become the champion and then retire. Some shit like that. That was my whole breakdown. I was wrong. So now, I'm assuming Volk's going to get his ass beat this weekend, which is something I got to break down here soon. I'm not going to get too deep into it on this episode specifically, but the featherweight division, there's a lot going on in it now. A lot going on in it, and you got a lot of important matchups to pay attention to. Obviously, we got the championship matchup this weekend. You had a high contender matchup this past weekend. I don't know how true it is, but I saw an announcement for Mosvar's next fight, which is a wild one because a lot of people think Mosvar should be the next in line for a title shot. His next fight might be Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico's UFC debut. If you're not hip to Aaron Pico, he's I would say a Bellator prospect who kind of was rising up pretty quick with good power, decent boxing, good wrestling. Was on a quick rise, kind of fell down a little bit, and just kind of holding himself as a talented fighter. And now he's coming over to the UFC. We're gonna really see what he's made of. But that's just a wild fight. Mosvar's fighting way down when he's talking about being the next to fight for the title. Then you have Patricio Pitbull versus Yair this weekend too. It's funny because for this fight for Yair, there is no win and you're in title contention and you're in conference. There's none of that for Yair, right? Yair would have to win maybe another 2 to get back to that position. But for some reason, Patricio Pitbull, coming in with the background that he has, and overall being one of the most talented fighters from Bellator that never made his way over to UFC earlier, if he comes over and he gets this win against Yair Rodriguez, don't be shocked if he gets the next title shot, especially if Volk wins. If Volk wins and Pitbull win, I guarantee you can see Volk and Pitbull as Volk's first title defense back as a 2-time featherweight champion if he gets it. Because Pitbull's a former champion. When you already know if he can get past Yair Rodriguez and he gets past Yair Rodriguez in, good fashion. Almost think about Michael Chandler's debut, right? Michael Chandler went in there, was going up against a not a surging prospect, but a savage in Dan Hooker, right? A savage in Dan Hooker. Why would you want to make your UFC debut against fucking Dan Hooker? Michael Chandler did that, and he knocked him out, right? And this is after Dan Hooker went to war with Dustin Poirier and everything like that, and Michael Chandler knocked him out. Could Pitbull come into this fight, be the one to knock Yair Rodriguez out, and call his shot for the title? And then you think of what's legitimately next for somebody like Lerone Murphy after getting such a high level win this weekend in great fashion. I mean, I know a lot of people were breaking this down, had it 2-2 going into the fifth. I definitely had it 3-1. I feel like Lerone kind of slowed down a little bit in the third round, and Josh was able to start finding some shots. But that was it. Lerone made the adjustments after that. 4-5 came out and did his thing. Just feel like Josh was just a little too lackluster. Didn't do enough besides search for the right hand. But what's next for Lerone Murphy? It's a great question because the division has been shaken up. Honestly, Ilya bouncing out of the division really shook it up. It shook it up so much more. And this fight this weekend could shake it up even more. If Diego Lopez beats Alexander Volkanovski, That's 700 days, 730 days or something into his UFC career. I want you to think about that. 730 days into his UFC career, and he's fighting for a world championship against one of the greatest featherweight champions of all time. That's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. But you have to watch closely on what happens in this fight. Does Diego run through Volk? Does Volk control for 5 rounds? Does Volk somehow get a finish? Does Diego control for 5 rounds? It all will determine what's next for that fight, like for the title specifically. But for somebody like Lerone Murphy, you got to give... I was thinking you would give him somebody like Movsar Evloev because, you know, both undefeated. Someone's always got to go. And that shoots and guarantees you to get a #1 contender. You know, there's no argument then. You got 2 top guys, 2 undefeated guys. Why not? You know, maybe you could put Lerone Murphy against Arnold Allen. You want to give him one more challenge, one more tough challenge. That's a tough one for anybody. Arnold Allen is no slouch for anybody, so you could throw him up against Arnold Allen. I think Max is up at 155 officially now, so not going to see nothing with Max. Maybe you could see Lerone Murphy and Brian Ortega if Brian didn't pop up to 155 as well, but you know, it's starting to seem like, and I've been saying this for a while, that the young guard is lapping the old dog now. Everybody is, the tide is changing. So more than likely you'll see Diego Lopez win this fight this weekend. You'll see Pitbull win the fight this weekend. You'll see Paddy Pimblett win the fight this weekend. That's very possible because I just feel like the changing of the guard is happening, right? Things are flipping. But at the same time, when you look at that entire card, it's one of those anything can happen type of cards because anybody could win. The talent level is matched so well and styles are matched so well. That's why everybody's so excited for this card because so many fights are stylistically like awesome, right? They're awesome matchups. It sucks that we're not getting Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates no more, but UFC Kansas City, Carlos Prates, Ian Gary, that's a great fight. I'm cool with that. But stylistically on this one, oh, and another 145-pound fight that matters because you got Jean Silva going up against Bryce Mitchell. Now, I know a lot of people are hating Bryce Mitchell right now, and I don't want that. I don't want anybody to take away from the fact that he still is skilled, right? He might be off his rocker on the outside, right? He's a different cat. That's a fact. But don't take away from how talented the dude is when he's in there. You know, so I do think if Bryce is on, he might be able to make it an interesting fight. He might be able to get Jean Silva down, maybe control him for a little bit, maybe land some good shots. But overall, I see Jean Silva knocking him out. You know what I mean? Like, I just see, style-wise, once Jean puts the pressure on him, and Bryce is coming back after, like, one of the nastiest KOs that you could ever... It's going to be a tough night. It's going to be a tough night. But I feel like I could see Bryce losing and getting cut and then getting signed with like the GFL or something like that. And then if Jean Silva wins, obviously you're talking about him pushing through top 10, top 5, and he's going to be fighting a lot of interesting fights. But if Bryce somehow pulls this off and gets this win, that's interesting. That would be really interesting, and that would hold his spot in the division. And he would probably need one more fight to boost himself up to get one after that. And then you're talking about 2 fights before you get to a title shot. So, interesting. Saturday is a huge featherweight shakeup card because of this past weekend and what's going to happen this weekend. I'm excited. Lerone Murphy can end up fighting any winner from this card, except I feel like he's not going to be the next guy for the title shot. I don't see it. I don't think Dana likes guys from the UK. I don't think he's a fan of UK fighters. Maybe the only one he likes is Tom Aspinall. Tom's been pretty marketable. But besides that, I don't think he likes that many UK fighters. I don't know why. It's Dana White. I don't think Dana White likes the Brazilian fighters either. But is Dana White. And that's that. I appreciate you guys for watching this episode. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bano's out. Peace.